Welcome, folks. Welcome, folks. As you can see, we got a way different background today. I mentioned the other day, I am on vacation, so I apologize about the background. Right now, actually, my wife's in a job interview, so I'm kind of in the car just waiting for her to be finished. But as I'm waiting, I'm thinking about our Mets, our lowly, poor Mets, where we are right now, how the season has gone so dreadfully wrong, coming off a 101 game winning season to this being dreadfully bad, and the trade deadline is quickly approaching. We have to determine, and it's already a foregone conclusion, the Mets will be sellers, but there is an interesting wrinkle to that. What happens with the Ohtani scenario? Ohtani has been the apple of Steve Cohen's eyes. There is no doubt about it. No doubt about it. So us being sellers, how does that affect Shohei Ohtani? Okay, so I'm going to go through a couple reasons, and what I'm trying to prove to you is that it is imperative, more than before the season started, at any time, that we must, if we plan on acquiring Shohei Ohtani, we have to trade for him. There is no ands, ifs, or buts. We have to acquire him before the trade deadline, and I am going to give you reasons why. 100% reasons why. And they're going to make sense, because we're going to look at this as realistic people. We're not going to look at this as fans. We are going to look at this as realistic Major League Baseball fans and observers, okay? So we're going to take off our Mets hats and we're going to look at this realistically. Okay, so realistically, the Mets have been terrible this year. They have not proven in the past that they could win anything. The only good thing is we have Steve Cohen, who is fairly new, who can provide a new vision, but Shohei will not know that vision unless he is in our organization. That is number one. For him to see our vision, he has to be in our organization. We already know Shohei wants to be with a winner. He wants to be with a winner, right? Okay, so we have proven right now that we are currently not a winner. So right now we are not a winner. So we're going to go on to the next main point. We have to acquire him right now. First main point is he knows we're not a winner. So we have to show him we can be a winner. We have to show what our plan is going to be in year 1, year 2, year 3. What is the vision? How are we building up the farm? Where are we going to invest our resources? We have to bring Shohei Ohtani here, because he's not going to sign with us if he doesn't know what our plan is. But if we trade for him, we give ourselves an opportunity to educate Shohei on the vision for the future, and we can actually literally show him, look what's going on. Look at what is going on behind the scenes. All right? And you are going to be a part of it, and it's going to start. It's going to start in 2024. At the end of 2023, we can make a run, but you got to show this guy, because letting him go out there with the impression in the back of his head like, I want to sign with a winner, we are doing nothing to prove ourselves otherwise. Okay. Now, number 2, let us be realistic. Realistic. Met hats off. Met fans, we take our hats off. The Dodgers are exactly what Shohei Ohtani is looking for. The Dodgers did not sign any free agents this offseason of high relevance, of high dollar value. They have been clearing cap space for a guy, Shohei Ohtani, generational talent. Not only can he pitch, not only can he hit. Do you know what this guy could do for marketing? Do you know what he could do for putting money in the pockets? This guy is a gold mine. A gold mine. And the Dodgers are located on the West Coast. So he wouldn't have to go cross country. He could be in the West Coast where he desires. And he knows he is with an organization that has won in the last couple years. I believe they won in 2020, so that's just a short time ago. They have all the resources in the world, so they have the pedigree, they have the winning culture, they have the dollars to get it done. So that is our competition. So Steve Cohen has to go billionaire mode. He has to go in the mode where he has to be very aggressive. He has to take a different route. And this is how he has to get the job done. Okay? Steve Cohen has to, how he became a billionaire. How he became a billionaire, he's got to go into that mode. All right? This has got to be a strategy in obtaining Shohei Ohtani. Because just leaving it up to Shohei Ohtani, based on what Shohei Ohtani has wanted in the past, being on the West Coast, being part of a winner, it's not going to do it. It is not going to do it. All right. That's number 2. You got the Dodgers. The Dodgers basically having everything Shohei wants, them clearing cap space, then really having good guys in the team already. They have a good core. They got Freeman. They got Betts. Kosher, I don't know if he's going to be there, but they got Walker Buehler. They have a great core to build around. They have a bunch of young, talented players coming up. They have everything the Mets aspire to be, the Dodgers already have. The Mets are trying to be the Dodgers, but why would Shohei Ohtani say, hey, I'm going to go with a team who's trying to be another team, rather than just going to that team who is located in a place where I'd rather play? Okay, so that's another reason why we have to be aggressive right now and get Shohei Ohtani before the trade deadline. Okay, number 3, we're going to utilize Billy Epler and his connections with Shohei Ohtani. Shohei Ohtani is a very loyal person. The things I've heard about him, I mean, the guy sounds like a saint. I mean, this is what kind of concerns me a bit about the Angels, because he is so loyal. It's hard for him to leave, but he does have agents. He does have people who will be out for his best concern, his best, they're going to look out for him. So I do see them kind of like nudging him, like, Shohei, it hasn't been working here. We can get like a lot more money elsewhere, and you can have what you want. You're a guy who's only getting older. You may seem like you could do this forever, but you really can't. You have a short window. So you have to go to a place that provides you with every opportunity available, plus is good for your family, plus is good for you, and good for your family's future. So that is what they are going to be selling Shohei Ohtani. And the Billy Epler connection, that loyalty is something that may stick with Shohei. Being a loyal guy, Billy Epler, you utilize that. And that's why I think Billy Epler is here ultimately. Believe me, Shohei Ohtani is the one thing that Steve Cohen knows as a businessman he needs to acquire. Like I mentioned before, he is a gold mine. And a businessman like Steve Cohen, he 100% knows that. Okay. That is the 3rd point. You can utilize Billy Epler. And number 4 might be a bit underrated, but don't underestimate this. If we acquire Shohei Ohtani, 40% of our rotation will be of Japanese heritage. And I know that you're like, hey, you know what? That's nothing. But I was trying to look, like, how many significant rotations did you have 40%? Shohei pitching alongside his countrymen. I mean, that might be also another intriguing thing that I think would be good for his home country, Japan, and good for the New York Mets in terms of marketing, in terms of making Shohei feel like welcome, Shohei feeling at home, and these two guys dominate. That is a major significant achievement for Japan. I think let's not underestimate that, because I saw these two gentlemen embrace at the All-Star game. The two interpreters exchange hugs. I mean, there is a bond there. That bond cannot be underrated. If you've been in any sports organization or any sports team, it's a good feeling to play at a high level next to a buddy of yours and dominate together. That actually is a really good feeling, and maybe it's something that we're underestimating. It's something that I'm looking at, and it's something that I think we can leverage as an organization to pitch alongside Shohei, So that's another point. But like I'm saying, I'm just thinking about this realistically from a Met fan, trying to take off my goggles, saying that if we're going to acquire this guy, a guy who's so adamantly speaking about winning, a guy who's so adamant about pitching on the West Coast. Plus, not to mention all the other competition out there. You have the Yankees, you have the Dodgers, and then you have exterior teams that we're not really thinking about. You potentially have the Texas Rangers, you have the San Francisco Giants, and then you have other organizations too that like could just come out of nowhere. That just, who knows? Maybe the Rays have been saying, hey, this is the guy we spent $50-60 million on. Because if they're thinking about like money, how to save money, you're getting 2 ball players in one. Plus, like I said, he's a marketing god. He's a gold mine. I'll keep saying that he's a gold mine. And that's why guys like Steve Cohen, guys in the Dodgers organization, the Steinbrenner family, New York Yankees, if they're going to invest in some talent, this is your guy. I also want to mention one thing that if all of you want to comment on this, I noticed something that I found alarming. There's been a lot of Francisco Lindor hate, and I don't advocate hate. I advocate criticism because it's constructive to the players. So like we like to criticize our players when they're not productive because they're professional athletes, and when you go into this industry, you know that if you don't play up to that high level, that naturally there will be criticism, especially if you play in New York City. So Francisco Lindor has endured a lot of criticism, and rightfully deserved. He hasn't lived up to his $341 million contract. We all know that. As good as he's playing. So I was reading an article, and I remember, I forgot who wrote it, but they were talking about other organizations and acquiring stars. Like the Phillies, they've been acquiring stars. Bryce Harper, Trey Turner, Zach Wheeler to a lesser extent, but they can rely on these guys no matter what, and these superstars will come through. Like Bryce Harper will always come through. Other organizations, have superstars like, Juan Soto. He was a superstar that went to San Diego. But I kept hearing a lot of, hoopla about Bryce Harper, and rightfully deserved. He's a 7-time All-Star. I believe he's won the Silver Slugger 1 time. He's a 2-time MVP. So he's got a lot of accolades. He was a Rookie of the Year. This is all stuff that, I remember about him. And I think he's played in about 1,300 games, like 1,340 games. And Francisco Lindor has played in about 1,000. So he's played in about 300 less games. So I looked at like the career WAR, WAR wins above the replacement of Bryce Harper, and it's like 43, right? So then I'm like, oh, okay, that's pretty good. So I look at Lindor in 300 less games. Lindor has a wins above replacement career-wise of 40. So I'm like, wow. Lindor has literally played in almost 2 years less of games, 300 less games, yet their WAR is virtually the same, and Bryce Harper is a superstar. He's a 2-time MVP. He's going to be a Hall of Famer, most likely. So Francisco Lindor, what I'm trying to say is, even though he's not coming through, numbers-wise, it looks like he is. So it's a little bit complicated, and it's a little bit difficult to assess. But I just found that stat a little intriguing. Then you got to look at like how reliable is the WAR stat, how much is Lindor's defensive prowess elevating him above Bryce Harper, because offensively, you would say that Bryce Harper is in a different stratosphere. I mean, the guy is an arm-based machine. He can hit home runs. He's got a high average. I mean, the guy can kind of do it all from the left side of the plate. So how much is Lindor's defensive prowess really like elevating him above like a guy like Bryce Harper? So I just found that interesting. So if you want to comment on that, that's a bit interesting. But I want you to really comment on if you feel the Mets' only chance on getting Ohtani is to acquire him before the trade deadline. We're not talking about assets, what we would have to give up. We're talking about if we want to acquire Ohtani, the only way to acquire him is to get him before the trade deadline and then sell him on the organization. That's the only way. That's the best way to acquire him. So if you made it this far, especially in this scenario, I really appreciate it. You are the best. You really are. I really appreciate all of your comments, all of the time taken to watch my videos. It's been a pleasure. It's been a pleasure doing this, and I really do appreciate the fact that you've stuck with me. I really do. I really, really do. Well, tune in. Stay tuned. I have more to come, And, let's go Mets. It can't get any worse, but we know what happens. It probably will. Like and subscribe for all of your Mets content. Stay tuned for more. The fun has just begun. Have a great day. Bye.